All right, we are following some breaking news right now, and we have just been told that the jury in the Donald Trump criminal hush money trial has reached a verdict. You're looking at video of Donald Trump from earlier today from the court in Lower Manhattan. Again, we have been waiting for this verdict now. The jury has been deliberating for nearly 12 hours.
After 16 days of this trial, 16 days of testimony, there were about 22 witnesses called during that time. I believe 20 of them were prosecution witnesses, 2 on the defense side. Now, just this morning, just yesterday afternoon, the jurors had asked to hear some information again. They wanted them to hear a reread of some of the testimony delivered by David Pecker, the editor of the National Enquirer, and then also testimony from Michael Cohen, of course, Donald Trump's fixer. So much of the case centered on his testimony on trial. The jury also asked for the judge to reread his initial instructions to them. Those things happened this morning, and then they went back into deliberations.
Now, we understand that the Judge Merchan, has said just a short time ago, please let there be no outbursts, no reactions of any kind when we take this verdict. Obviously, this country has been waiting on pins and needles to find out what the outcome of this much anticipated criminal trial, most likely the only trial that will probably happen with a verdict before the presidential election. There has been a lot of speculation about what was going to happen with this jury of 12, 7 men, 5 women. Would it be a hung jury? There was a lot of speculation that might happen, especially since the jury did not come back immediately with some sort of verdict.
Yeah, and I think people were surprised, though, at this point in time. We thought a short time ago that the jury might be going home early today, but again, we have just learned that there is a verdict in the Donald Trump hush money trial. Shannon Sohn is in News Copter 7 over that scene in Lower Manhattan, where we're sure streets have been blocked off, reporters standing at the ready to hear the verdict. Shannon, what are you seeing down there? Of course, we've seen crowds down there on various days before and after court. What are you seeing now?
Well, we are seeing a similar scene to what we usually see in Lower Manhattan when Donald Trump is here. You see Worth Street coming on the left side of your picture, and you can see that that remains open with a little bit of police activity on it. But on the south side of 100 Center Street, we have got everything completely shut down, police barricaded, and they always are on the ready to take Donald Trump from the courthouse. So you are looking down at Hogan Place, and between Center Street and Baxter Street, they've got it completely shut down. 9 times out of 10, when Donald Trump exits the building, he exits from this spot, and that is why the police are here. So they got the police as well as the entire motorcade prepared to take Mr. Trump out of the courthouse. But that's what you see there. If I'm going to ask Captain Randy to just bring the helicopter forward a little bit, sorry about that, Randy, but we're just going to show you what it looks like on Center Street itself, where you can see all of the activity with the press, because that is a tremendous amount, most of it sitting there in Collect Pond Park there. But as we come around the building, you're going to see that. So we're going to expect closures on Center Street. All those people lining the street, that is your media activity. Obviously, closures there as well. But the big thing is on Center Street here, as well as on Hogan, getting towards Baxter. That is where they shut everything down. And then you can expect that motorcade to move usually towards Trump Tower. Sometimes he goes right to the airport at LaGuardia, but closures expected when he finally leaves the building. But it's sort of a common scene for what we've been seeing whenever Trump is here at the hearings. Back to you guys.
All right, Shannon, thank you so much. Keeping a close eye on what's going on in Lower Manhattan. Our Lauren Glassberg has been covering this trial for weeks now. She is standing by. Lauren, what can you fill us in on as we wait to hear the jury's verdict?
Sandra, I can tell you that about 5 minutes ago, I was preparing to deliver my 5 o'clock update on this trial, as I've been doing for the last 7 weeks or so. And we were waiting to hear whether the judge was going to excuse the jurors. He had said he would be doing so at 4:30 every day unless they decided to work on. The latest they would work until would be 6 o'clock. And as I was walking over to stand right here, I received a text that, yes, the jury had reached a verdict. Now, of course, they have only been deliberating since yesterday, about 10 hours or so that they've been behind closed doors going over the witness testimony, 22 witnesses. They have a laptop that the judge gave them. That laptop has some of the evidence that was presented, including phone calls that had been recorded, conversations recorded by Michael Cohen. They had asked earlier today for a speaker or for a headset so they could better hear that, all of those recordings. So we know that they certainly were trying to listen to some of that evidence. And also today they had asked the judge for a readback on some of his instructions, particularly on how to interpret witnesses and how to assess their credibility, particularly Michael Cohen's credibility, because he is a convicted felon. So that was also stipulated in some of the instructions. And they asked for readback of some of the witness testimony, precisely David Pecker's testimony involving catch and kill scheme to kill stories that were negative for Trump's reputation and for possibly his presidential hopes, and also to print stories that were favorable to him. And then about a meeting with Cohen and Pecker and Trump at Trump Tower back in 2015, even before he decided that he was running for the presidency. The prosecutors say it was during that meeting, a pivotal meeting, that this idea of paying off for these catch and kill stories was created. That sort of starts the conspiracy to pay off people who had negative stories to tell, and it sets the stage for the Stormy Daniels payments. Of course, $130,000 paid to her. She alleged a one-night stand with Donald Trump back in 2006. He has long denied that ever happened, but she was paid, Michael Cohen says, at Trump's direction. Cohen paid that money personally, and then he received reimbursements. The prosecution says the way those reimbursements were paid out and annotated, that is the crux of this criminal case, that they were falsified and listed as legal services. And that is also with the intent to defraud. So that's where this becomes a felony case as opposed to a misdemeanor of just falsifying business records. So there are 34 counts that the jurors are considering.